Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
So if you guys wanted to go down and see Danielle Lazar, we're good. Because Katie and I will just have a blast. We have these green chairs. They give us water. We'll just be up here. My name's Carol Houston. This is Katie Moe.
Hi, Katie.
And we're going to just tell you our stories and how we got here. She's going to tell you about me.
We promise this will be worth it, you guys. So like Carol said, we have both been in this business for over 20 years, and we want to share with you just a little bit about what we have been through and how we've gotten to where we are. This is called Leading with Heart, Growing with Purpose. And there's been definitely a theme, if you've been in different sessions today, a lot of people talking about, Mel, who was just in here, a lot of similarities. So what we want to do is tell you a little bit to dive deeper. We want to get into a little bit more of a deeper story of our journeys to tell you how to go out and live in your core values, live in your purpose, which is what we have been fortunate enough to do. So my story to talk about Carol is, if you haven't met Carol Houston, please do spend some time with her. She is a bright light, and you wouldn't know that this woman, when she got her license in 1998, was thick in the hustle culture. Like up at 4 a.m., 50 calls a day, because that's what she thought you were supposed to do in real estate. It was just one of those things that eventually, similar probably, what am I doing? Why am I here? She's had a couple different adventures over her life that have led her across her journey of discovering really truly who she wants to be and her purpose. This is a woman who exudes love, care, giving, connection, and over time she got there to this point, which is kind of what we're going to talk about. The big thing that really changed her life was when she met her husband, and he kind of said, put the phone down. Like, what are you doing? Like, we need to spend some time together. So his one condition was, as in Jerry's words, put your phone away when we're home at night. And that began her mindset shift of, okay, I don't have to work 24/7. I don't have to do these things. How do I then start to put this into practice? The game changer, I think, for both of us was when she joined SIDE. She learned about SIDE in 2020 and started to realize that, wait, I can do this differently. I can do this in a way that speaks to me as a human, me as a person, and who I want to be. And I think, you look at her and she has withstood amazing adversity. She has shown up, many people have shared stories. She lives in the Los Angeles area. She is a steward and a beacon. And one of the things she talks about, her title when she gave me her story, was about becoming a lighthouse. And that she has become that tall, strong presence in her community for people that look to her to look to the light. And she constantly shares light. And I'm honored to be her friend and to share her story.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
So let me tell you about my friend Katie Moe. So Katie Moe got her license in 2005. And in that year, she actually heard a woman speak, Katie Cole. Some of you might know her. And she thought, I'm going to coach with her someday. And then she found out how much money it cost, and she said, not today, but at some point I will. So she had this dream. 2007, she had twins. One of those twins has a special need. 2010, she had another little girl, so she had 3 little girls, all under the age of 4, and just began trying to hustle and become a realtor. As time went by, in 2015, she actually started coaching with Kitty Cole, which is like so crazy. 10 years from when she said, I'm going to do that, it happened, right? It was because of Kitty Cole that in 2019, she let her know about SIDE. And at that point, Katie went, And so Katie actually started a team with another partner in 2019. In 2020, the pandemic hit. And we were all like, what? And so she started looking around and realized that her gift was to connect people. So she started doing things, and one of my favorite stories about her was she realized in 2020 that no children were going to have birthday parties. And so she went, I wonder how many kids out there are not going to have a birthday party. She put it on Instagram and said, hey, if your kid's having a birthday during this time, let me know. I've got a plan and we'll surprise them. People responded. They gave her addresses, and she went out and bought 200 pink flamingos and a happy birthday sign. She got all of their addresses, and the night before that child's birthday, she, along with her 3 little girls, she threw them in the back of the car and drove to wherever that little kid was at 9 o'clock at night, put all the pink flamingos out, put out the happy birthday sign, so that little kid woke up to a happy birthday with pink flamingos in their front yard. And that's just one idea she's had. But the other part was she showed her daughters, this is how we do it. This is how we help other people. And they were more excited than she was. Do you know that she did that to 36 houses from April to June? That's it. We can all go home now. Anyway, she is just a stellar human that she looks around and she sees what it is that needs to be done. And her company, she finally came to it and thought, you know what, I want to do my own company. So in 2020, she started looking at that. 2022, she started Connect California Homes. Perfect title. Because she became, in her community, the person that people started saying, hey, so do you know where I can get a good plumber? And then it began to be, do you know where I can get a puppy? Do you know where I could get my hair done like yours because it's really cute? Do you know where I could get flowers for my wife? She became the go-to person in her little town of Pleasanton, California. It's not so little, I should say that. I'm from LA, so it's like, oh, it's a small little town. Anyway, she became that person. And then what happened also was in 2020, the 2 of us met on a Zoom it was about maybe 50 agents all over the country and Canada that through our friend Ryan Seacrest, not the radio guy, actually a business coach that we took ninja selling with. He created this whole group that every single week we all met on Zoom, and that's how I met her. And she was talking about her company, and I was like, where are you? What are you doing? And she's the person that told me about Side. And I also heard all the stuff she was doing in the pandemic. She also started a coat drive for homeless people, and she got all of these people connected through bringing coats and got the pizzeria in the area to contribute, and every time they brought a coat, they got a coupon for a pizza. And she used their 10,000 person database to get that many more people understanding and knowing about her. It's all about service. It's all about connection. And she realized that her business could just be built on that very thing, her superpower of connecting people. The way that we got to be together on Zoom convinced me that there must be a better way that we can all do this, that doesn't have to be about being a crazy person, but to look around and to see where we can add value. But the only way we can begin to add value is to find out what our core value is within ourselves. What do I need for me to be the best human that energizes me, right? So you got to hear the rest of Katie's story. I don't have time, but you know what? Go and talk to her at lunch.
Very sweet.
Okay.
That was very nice. So a big theme today has been core values. Carol just mentioned it. So when we were prepping for this call, we talked about, okay, what are core values? When you get into real estate, you think about, okay, well, what do I want to be known for? What are my core values? So we went to our good friend ChatGPT, and we said, what are the top 10 common core values that come up in residential real estate? Integrity, trust, communication. I mean, how many of you have one of these on your list of core values?
Customer service.
Right? I mean, it is. These are all things we want to be known for in our business. But what Carol and I went through is we went through the process of figuring out how do you dig deeper on your core values? How do you get in deeper than this? There has to be something peeling back the onion.
Right. So we went to, and this was actually through our coach. We're part of a group of realtors all over the country that coach with Platinum Partners, it's called. And so he took us through the Brene Brown system of finding out and living in your core values. But it's kind of like, what is that? I don't know. So it's like what activities and conversations and what causes you to get excited about anything in this day and age? What do you feel that ignites you? You know, I was just in the LA fires. We had this whole deal go on with people suddenly trying to price gouge on leases. I was so mad. I went out and I did a video about it. You guys, we have to be better than this. You have to be kind. It went absolutely viral, all because I was pissed. Who knew, right? You just speak from that place and you're authentic and people understand that and feel it, you know? And then when do you feel the most alive? When do you feel fulfilled? And what moments in your life have been the most meaningful that you go, oh, I love this. This is what I want to live for. And then what drives all your decisions when you're faced with a tough choice? what principles will guide you in that? And then you think about a time that you were so proud of your decision, and what value was at play when you made the decision, right? And then the next part of that is, what do you defend or fight for? I fight for justice in the American way. I fight for people's rights. If people are getting screwed, if they're not going to get the credit back from their seller because they're just not being seen, I fight for that. I will absolutely fight for it. What makes you upset when it's missing or violated, like dishonesty or lack of respect? And what's something you'd stand up for no matter what? What is that in you? You know you have it, right? But it's going to be different for every single person in this room. And that's what we're talking about. It's got to be what ignites you. So what helps you also discover them is look at the people around you that you just go, oh, I love them. Yeah. What is it that gets you excited about you and inspires you about them? And then look at all your past jobs and relationships. Maybe that's not a good idea.
I'm getting a little bit ahead here, but the bottom bullet where it says write down words that make you feel powerful, authentic, and true to yourself. Someone shared with me, and we're going to share some tips about how to do this, whether you do this yourself or you take this home to your team or your children. I have a daughter who's 17 who's going to be applying for colleges soon. And of course, what is looming? The good old college essay, right? How do we write this essay? How do we inspire her? Someone shared a tactic that they do is go to 3 of your best friends, your trusted friends, people who are like I'll call you at 2:00 in the morning in jail people on that list. And you ask them to write down 3 words that describe you. And then they bring it to you and you look at the commonalities, you look at the themes, you look at things that come up that maybe we don't see in ourselves, but other people see in us. And we see that when we get our client testimonials, right?
Right.
The words that come up in your testimonials. We do such an amazing service for our clients, but our communities that sometimes we forget we may affect them in a different way, and we're so focused on that other top list, we're not looking at the deeper way that we serve. So we're going to share, I just wanted to share that, but there's a couple other things you can do. Look at mentors, talk to people, get your friends to share words, how they would describe you. And then what you do is you take those back, maybe like there's a word, contribution, which is one of yours. How did I contribute in that moment? Why did that person say that I'm really good at connecting people? It's work. And we have to say also, you said in the beginning, this is not for everyone, and we get that. The beautiful part of our business is that we get to own and be in charge of how you want to show up as a realtor. And I think that is what is amazing about this conference. It's amazing when you talk with every single person that's here. Everyone is doing it their way, and they're doing it how it speaks to them as a person or what their goals are financially. And there's no wrong way. This is just one way.
That's exactly right. And I also want to just say that we're going to click to the next list. So this is from Brené Brown. Take a picture of these because this is like the A to Z of words that may inspire you and connect to you that, you know what, it might be the thing that gets you up tomorrow morning.
And right? I think by definition, these are all considered core values.
Yes.
So again, it's the idea, I mean, she has a similar list for emotions. There's actually 96 words that could be considered an emotion when we all just think of joy, happiness, sadness, grief. There's so much more to it. So this is A to L. Here's M to Z. I mean, this is unlocking opportunities for you to further define who you are and who you want to be in your business.
I love unwavering commitment. You know, there's just a way of saying that it's like, you know, anybody want an X word? I mean, she actually has 2 X words.
So all of that to say, Carol,
yes.
Your core values.
So my core values are my higher power, or God, whatever you want to call it, my husband, for sure, my family. My core value is adventure. I want to have more adventure in my life. Enthusiasm. Can you believe that's one of my words? I can't even believe it. Anyway, and contribution. I want to be always giving back. That word is so key for me, you guys. When I say it, I go, yeah. It really motivates me. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the emotional connection that actually causes you to feel a little excitement, you know? And Katie's?
Mine is husband first, family second, faith, however you define faith, Sometimes for me, that's just sitting in my backyard watching a sunset or a sunrise. Independence, again, that can be making my own decisions, being a founder. That can be financial independence. There's many different ways that independence shows up. Contribution, the same thing. You know, when you're talking what fuels you, when things happen, I'm usually, my first instinct is, okay, how can I help? What can I do? What can I do? So contribution is big, and then travel, for sure.
And so, what does it mean? How does it, if you start living in these core values, what happens? So what happened for us was that we started realizing that the impact we made on the people around us caused income to come in. Mm-hmm. It's so ass backwards, right? But it's true that it really is that once you start living in your core value of how can I contribute, stuff happens. So during the fires, you know, just after they happened, we were so busy just trying to find people leases, and there's no money in leases. We didn't care. We were just going to give them any money we made. We were putting back into GoFundMe campaigns, and out of the blue, I get a call from a client that says, Carol, I got to move. Can you sell my $5 million house? And I was like, what? And it just reminds us, it happens to you all the time, that out of the blue, because once you're living in it, the rest will follow. And that's a part of faith, I think. But it's also just once it starts happening, you're like, oh, of course that's happening.
Well, and
of course that'll happen.
You bring up a good point in that it is that you get to a point. I mean, we both started and we were scrappers. We did everything. We would go anywhere. We would take all the calls. We would take all the leads. And that was fine in that moment. But there is an empowering place where you step into this, where you say, no, this is how I want to show up. This is what I want my calendar to reflect. I mean, Mel just talked about that too. I mean, I have in my calendar two set appointments that are just, I call listing appointments. And I set those, whatever, I move them around, it's in my calendar. Thanks to my dear friend Heather in the front here, I have a calendar every single Friday for 2 hours with me and my husband. Like, let's go to lunch. And it's in my calendar, and it's called the gift of time. And it's him and I, we figure it out. What do you have going on? Let's go to lunch, let's go to dinner. Because he's a priority. He's my number one core value. I want to be dedicated to that. I think like talking about the impact over income, one of the things I started a couple years ago, and I know Teresa's in here too, she did these too, seller seminars. Like just this morning, I got back from breath work feeling all energized and quite honestly high. And I was sitting on my bed and I got an email from someone whose mother had just passed away. She lives in Columbus, Ohio. Her brothers live elsewhere. And she literally just wrote this email and shared her amazing life story about her family and said, her mom just passed away from breast cancer, and literally said, I can recall my sitting in the kitchen with my mom and her pushing your advertisements over in the Pleasanton Weekly and says, she's the one I want when it's time. She gets it. And it was like,
never met her.
And I don't know who these
doesn't
people
know
are
this woman at all.
But I'm sitting on my bed like crying, and it's just the idea of, it was so affirming of going out there and leading with service, leading with giving, and that it will come back.
That's such a great story. And so the other next part of this is the power of saying no. Now, Steve Clark in the last session actually touched on this, but once you get in alignment with what's okay, you really do gain a bullshit detector. It's pretty powerful. And you get to be able to read another person and go, you know what, this energy does not align with my core values. I feel it. It feels, And in the old days when we first started, you're like, no, I gotta take that deal. No, I gotta take that deal. And I'm telling people now, like, yeah, because early on they say, you got to take every deal. It doesn't matter. You got to put up with people. This is just what it is. And I think the opposite of that. I think that when you meet someone and they're so obviously not in alignment with you, and you're putting yourself in any kind of shape of a pretzel that would make sense, that maybe they'll like me this way, maybe they'll like me this way. There's no shape you can be in that's going to fit with you. And what that does is, it takes away all the other business that could come in, because you're so focused on this one asshole, hoping to please them, and it's not going to happen. I wasn't going to swear.
Oh, Carol. It's okay. I mean, usually it's the other one, the F.
Usually it's you. I know. Anyway, You're so focused on them, and you absolutely lose the energy to go out and work with anybody else. And all you do is go in the office and go, oh, this guy, you won't even believe what he's doing now, you know. And the truth is that if you fire them, you feel such peace. And at first you feel scared, like, oh no, I'm letting this money go. I had a guy, he was a $25 million buyer. I worked with him month after month after month. I'm thinking, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it. I said, finally, the actual manager of my office said to me, you know, at this point, you gotta let this guy go. You gotta let him go. And I was like, no, he's gonna be the big payoff. And he just got more and more and more difficult because he knew he could take advantage of me. The second I let him go, within 6 months, I sold $25 million of $1 million house, $1 million house, $1 million house, $1 million house of great people that loved me and wanted to work with me. Part of this is faith. We have to have faith in something that's bigger than us. But the power of the no, and that's really just as, oh, you know what? I'm sure there's someone that can meet your needs. I just don't think I'm your person. I've also said, you know, I don't think you can hear my voice. So I don't think we're in alignment with each other. Somebody else can serve your needs. And here's the other part. You don't want to refer that person to any of your friends. Yeah. Would you do that to your best friend? Send it to Compass. Okay. Anyway, the power of the no. If you ever need help with this, call me. I'll talk you off the ledge. But it's about realizing your own value because you've gotten your core value. That the no is like, that's just a fly. Swat it away. It's not worth it.
So, I mean, essentially, we're kind of talking all those things. Guess what? We both did the work. It was not easy, but we both are firmly, probably living in our core values for the last 2, maybe 3 years.
Yes.
And we are just happy. And
we both launched our companies within a day of each other
Yep.
in 2022, March of 2022.
And we both in 2024 had our best years ever. So,
and my core value of adventure, you know, I put that word adventure out there and I thought, yeah, well, I never took a long vacation with my husband. We go away I just didn't take vacations. It made me nervous. I thought everything was going to go away. And so we did the thing. Have you guys heard of the Big Ass Calendar? I'm not swearing. That's the name of it. Big Ass Calendar. The misogyny.
Jesse Eitzler.
Right. So we did it. We took our calendar and said, okay, we're going to do a 3-week vacation. And we're like, in January, we're like, okay, let's do it in October. Anyway, we planned a vacation. We went away for 3 weeks. We did Europe. I'd never been to Europe. We had the most incredible time. That's us in front of the Eiffel Tower. And you know what, you guys? It was incredible. And during that time, all these deals closed, and I made money while I was on vacation.
Yeah.
Right?
So some of it is obviously we both have inspired by many things, and we really wanted to share this list with you guys. These are some of our favorite books, some of our favorite podcasts, just all sorts of different things that we have really, I go back to. For me, the first one was in August of 22. If anyone listens to the Ed Mylett podcast, he interviewed Rory Vaden, who owns a company called Brand Builders. And they talk a lot about real estate agents, and it is all about building your personal brand. They did a follow-up this past December. I literally was walking through Costco crying, and I think I called her. I'm like, you have to hear this podcast. It was the most wonderful follow-up. And then obviously Mel Robbins, if you listen to Mel Robbins, she has an interview with Dr. Martha Beck, where in the opening, she leads Mel through her perfect day. And it's a lot of closing your eyes, visualization of what would your perfect day look like. And it's very, very tied to, again, future self, future planning, when you're trying to be, who do I want to be now? But what am I doing now that's showing up for my future self later in life? So those are some.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was in the past slides that were there, part of it is also inspiring our teams to be the kind of people that also are living in their core values, right? And so one of the things that happened during the fire was in Altadena, we had 20 clients that all lost their homes. And one of the people on my team, my sales partner, Jules, she's here today. She had a family that she'd gotten them into their home. They scraped, they finally got in the home. They're there and they're trying to have a baby. They finally, through IVF, have twins. They're so excited. They have 3-month-old babies and they are evacuated out of the house and the house burns down. with all of the stuff. And she calls me and says, we kept calling each other just crying because, oh, did you hear about this person? You hear about this person? So within a couple of days, we had this idea to have a clothing drive, but I was like, where would we go? How do we do it? There's so much upheaval. She goes, I'm in Glendale. I'll do it in my front yard. I was like, really? And I thought, it is kind of the perfect place. So she puts it on Instagram. Within 2 days, we have this clothing drive. People came from all over Los Angeles. People came with their little kids with brand new outfits that they'd gone and bought at Target because they said, well, if I was little and lost my house, I wouldn't want to wear old underwear. I'd want new underwear. And they came and brought all of these clothes, so much so that Jules' husband walked out and said, what the?
There it is.
Covered.
There it is.
I didn't say it loud, though. You had to just read my lips. Anyway, we had to get a 20-foot truck to load up everything so that it was just unbelievable. People came and shopped. They took what they needed. But Jules totally commandeered this, and we just all showed up, and there was a whole team of us there. People volunteered. Friends came. It was the most amazing experience of just everybody wanted to do something. But it was like figuring out one thing everybody could do. And this is how we make a difference. It was just, I was so inspired by her, and I just have to say, Jules, that was incredible. Incredible. So the other thing I want to say is our coach, Ryan Seacrest, he could not be here. We're saying this for him because he couldn't be here. And we wanted to just give him a shout out because he has really changed our lives and how we're doing business and how we're viewing it with our teams. And it has made all the difference in the world. So thank you. You guys have any questions?
Yeah, we're early. Does anyone have any questions or anything?
Let me tell you more about Katie.
Oh my God, no,
Anyway,
stop.
Another story about Katie is she has now, think about it, 3 teenage daughters. Okay? She has 3 teenage daughters. She's away on an event. We're standing there. We're having a little cocktail hour and her phone rings. She goes, it's my husband. She picks it up and he says, did you take the chicken out to thaw it? She's like, no.
No,
I left it 4 o'clock in the morning. You can take it out.
No, it was,
Bye.
I'm in Arizona. Bye.
So part of this is also like life is happening. How do I still respond out of my core values? She could have been like, what? Instead, she was like, no, honey, that's on you. God bless.
But really, you guys, thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Our hope, again, there have been a lot of wonderful talks that people are, again, core values keeps coming up in Mel's talk, the one that future-proofing, Maytal literally said it perfectly about the role that we get to play for our clients. And we loved that we followed them because our hope was that to give you some ideas and ways to think deeper and to go deeper on that journey, either with yourself, with your family, or with your team, to further define who you are and how you want to show up. And then the best part is that you get to just have hopefully a peaceful, amazing life because you're literally walking and living in your purpose and just enjoying your business.
The other part of that is because of SIDE, we have the freedom to do this.
Yeah.
It's really SIDE. Both of us getting here in 2022, part of it is we want to tell our story. We've both been here 3 years, and last year, most people had difficult years. We both had the most amazing years of our lives, and we got to do all the stuff that we'd planned out, the adventures we wanted to go on. I went on a 3-week vacation, you guys, and I made money during that time.
Well, and I was going to say, my closing comment that I thought about is Mark Twain has a wonderful quote, and talks about there are 2 most important days of your life, the day you're born and the day you figure out why. So there's a lot about your why, but digging into your core values is going to really help you figure out what your why is and why we're here and what we're here to do and how we can make an impact.
If you guys ever want to talk about it or have questions about it, or just run them by, just know, call your friends and say, what do you think about me? What shines from me? It's a good conversation to have, and maybe have a list of, when you call that friend, have a list of 3 things you want to tell them that's great about them. It just brings amazing conversations to the front, and a conversation equals a relationship. If you have great conversations, you're having a great relationship. That's from Fierce Conversations. That's another great book we should have put on there. But you guys have any questions?
That's it.
Yes.
information. How did you guys, you guys have a team?
She's up in Northern California with Connect California Homes. I'm in Los Angeles with True Story Realty.
Yeah.
My question is, how do you implement this with a team? Do you do this personally, or do you implement it?
We do it on a Zoom. Basically, you take the list and you have them pull out look at all of the words and pick your top 10, right?
Yeah.
The top 10 that fit you, and then go through the top 10 and say, out of that, what are the top 6? And have them pick those. And guess what? As time goes by, they might go, you know what? That word doesn't resonate for me anymore, but adventure, that's the word that came to me later when I realized I needed to take a vacation. So words may change, and as you get deeper into it, you may go, you know, this doesn't fit, but this one does,
But
right?
I also think so. Some of my team is here in the audience, and so I try to share everything. You know, we do an annual business planning every year where we have not done a specific core values exercise, but like they know when I hear a podcast, I'm like, oh my God, you guys, you have to listen to this. This is amazing. Or let's listen to this and let's talk about it next week. So I try to lead and then create the conversation. I'm fortunate that the 3 beautiful ladies sitting here are all very aligned with our core values. These are all people, which is part of why we are who we are. We're attracted to each other for that reason. And so I continue, like you said, it's an evolving conversation because our lives change. Someone's going to college next year. Someone's going out of kindergarten into 1st grade next year. Someone is helping their parent. I mean, we're in the sandwich generation where we've got kids and parents. And so to me, it's an evolving conversation. And my job is to try to find those nuggets, those inspirations that are helping all of us continue that thought process because it's inner work as well as outer work.
It's also work you can do to kind of describe your own company, and then as you're hiring people or bringing people in, kind of look at, does that feel right? And part of it is to really get a spidey sense. And pay attention.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the spidey sense. It's probably true. That's why we're given intuition. It's like getting that muscle of intuition to really believe it. It's amazing how much more powerful our decisions are from that, I think.
Thank you, though.
Anybody
Any other
else?
questions?
Did you just want to come up and hug us? It's okay. Come on. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.